last thing you remember? I had a glimpse into the past. You're going to have to do for me what I once did for you. You'll need me as well, side by side, to end this war. Before it ever begins. Logan, I was a very different man. Lead me.
Patience isn't my strongest suit.
I don't want your suffering. I don't want your future.
Please. We need you to hope again.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Worse. We're going to be reviewing something related to something coming out almost. X-Men Days of Future Past.
They carry it over from First Class. If you haven't seen X-Men's First Class, I would highly recommend you watch that first because it, well, ties in. This is a direct sequel to it. And if you haven't seen it yet, then definitely go watch it and then come back and watch us. This whole movie pretty much rewrites everything that went wrong with the X-Men series. X-Men Origins Wolverine had its issues, and X-Men 3 was a piece of crap. So it pretty much rewrites everything and ties it all together very beautifully. Like, that whole ending part was, like, so epic, especially for me. And I'm not even, like, a super big X-Men fan, and I appreciate that part. And you gotta love Wolverine being pretty much the main protagonist. I mean, you know, they had James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender also lead roles, but Wolverine was also, it's like them three were like the main focus, and so that was really cool.
Big pro for this movie is the casting for me. I mean they got the cast right all through the movies. I mean, I love the First Class cast, even though at first it took me a long time to get warmed up to it because
you're used to a young Professor X and
it
young.
was kind of strange,
Yeah.
and I didn't like a lot of it at first, but for this movie, I don't know, it kind of tied it all, like I said, tied it all together, and it made me like the new, quote-unquote, new universe a lot better.
Definitely nails time travel really well, which is also cool because they brought back some original cast members. They brought back the Iceman, Professor X, and Magneto. The old actors are in this movie as well. And so what it is, it's like a tie-in with, like, you see the future of what's going on, and that Wolverine is sent back to the past to his old body. It's just really, really interesting, and I love, I guess it was the 70s?
Yeah.
73?
Yeah, so I love movies about being sent to a decade like that. It's just so cool to see, like, the old cars and everything that, like, just noticing, like, the Mountain Dew logo is the old Mountain Dew and all that cool stuff. So it's like, even if you're not an X-Men fan, this movie's eye candy.
In the movie The Wolverine, Logan loses his adamantium claws, and then in Days of Future Past, when they show the future segments, he has his adamantium claws.
Maybe it was in a comic or something where they kind of did like an in-between comic story or something. I don't know. I mean, they might have, but some stories actually do that where you get little Easter eggs that explain things. But if they didn't, then that's kind of like they just left that like, oh, he has his steel claws again. Okay, cool.
I think they cut the Wolverine basically out of continuity with all the other ones.
That's one of my whole point about this review is Days of Future Past makes a lot of different things make more sense again, where it's like kind of stuff that you're just like, oh, I thought this person died or whatever, and it's like, no, they're alive, but it makes sense because it's like, oh, all that never happened. So X-Men 3 and parts of X-Men Origins didn't happen. The action is really well done. I mean, for an X-Men movie, this is really awesome to look at that. The beginning sequence with the big sentinels and everything and what they have to do, and they're getting slaughtered.
Yeah.
Like, these things are really, really scary. And so that's the kind of the point. You have to be sent to the past to stop the guy that builds these things in the first place.
Trask, yeah.
So yeah, all the action and everything was really, really awesome.
That's one thing I had a problem with when I first saw this. I mean, you can ask them how bad I threw a hissy fit when I first saw the Sentinels. They looked human sized, and for those of you that are X-Men fans, I mean, I don't read a lot of X-Men, but I do know about them. The Sentinels are huge. They're like probably 14, 15 feet tall somewhere in there. They're real big. So I mean, to see them human-sized threw me off a little bit. I wasn't really expecting that. And then towards the end of the movie, they seemed a lot bigger, and they were purple. So I don't know what the deal was. They kind of changed, or may have just been the lighting or something. But they looked more like Sentinels towards the end of the movie. They had an updated design. They weren't exactly the same as the comic, but they were purple, and they were big and tall. That's what I cared about. But yeah, that was like my biggest pet peeve. The big thing that I really enjoyed, Quicksilver. I love the whole where he slows down time. Like, he's moving so quickly that he's just, like, he's moving bullets out of thin air, and he's changing people's fists to make them punch themselves. I really wish that the X-Men were part of the main Marvel Cinematic Universe continuity, because if it had been, we would have gotten to use the same Quicksilver from the Avengers and Scarlet Witch.
I really think that they showed the rivalry and the friendship between Magneto and Professor X really, really well in this movie. Like, because all the stuff they went through when they were young, everything, like, it just really, like Kolyn was saying, is like, oh, they're sitting there playing chess. They're pure enemies, but they first had this friendship. It shows in First Class. Like, that's what I've always wanted to see, is how did these guys become what they are, and why can they even stand in the same room without trying to kill each other in, like, the first X-Men or whatever at the beginning and all that. But they were friends, and we learn that they were friends, and they sit there and play chess even though they hate each other. And, you know, Magneto obviously does what he does best, and he keeps betraying and all of that, so it's just kind of like, it's back and forth.
I don't really believe that Charles and Eric hate each other. I believe that their outlooks are just different, so it puts them at odds with each other. It's like a really big argument. They're friends, because even in X-Men 3, when Pyro, I think is his name, talks about, you know, how he's stuck with Magneto this whole time, and he says he would have killed the professor, and he basically just stops him and he says, hold on, you know, Charles Xavier did more for mutants than you'll ever, you know in your life. And he's like, you know, I regret that he had to die for our dream to live. So I mean, honestly, he cares about Charles, and he cares about Eric. So, I mean, like I said, they disagree, and they do come into conflict with each other, but deep down, I think they both really care about each other, so they don't hate each other.
I'm just saying, like, it was really well done to see that, like, and we got to see more of it with this movie, and even more so with the next movie. Apocalypse is going to just give us more of all that we want, really. I mean,
because Days of Future Past is not perfect.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect movie, but I mean, there's a lot of elements to it that I liked a lot better than a lot of the X-Men movies, and I think it really did its job with tying it all together and making everything a lot better as a whole.
It wasn't my favorite, but it was a good return to form, honestly, because, I mean, when I watch an X-Men movie, I mean, I want to see Wolverine, you know, do more stuff. And he did do a lot of stuff, but this was more about him helping Charles. He didn't really get to be his, you know, visceral self. So hopefully we'll get to see more of that in Apocalypse. And I don't know, I like X-Men more than just for Wolverine, but when I go see an X-Men movie, Wolverine's the main reason I go. It was cool to see all the original cast come back after they fixed all the pollution in the time, you know, the time stream or whatever. After they fixed it, getting to see everybody again, that was pretty cool.
A lot of this movie was spot on, and I didn't have very many problems with it. I mean, like with First Class, like I said, like, it took me a lot of times to get warmed up to this new cast, and I think it pays off because I really like this new cast, and them merging with the old cast was my favorite part of this movie. I mean, Wolverine is always what, I mean, I agree with you. That's why I see an X-Men movie is for Wolverine, because his character is awesome.
It's one of the better X-Men movies that I've seen. I'm not even a big X-Men fan, but it goes from like X2, First Class, and Days of Future Past. Those are all the best to me right now, and that's why Apocalypse, I hope that it's amazing. I mean, but it, you know, it could fall short too. It could be just another, like, kind of okay X-Men movie, but hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully it's as spectacular, because, I mean, I'm definitely going to go see it.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. This was our review on the X-Men Days of Future Past.
X-Men Apocalypse coming May 27th.
Exactly.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an X-Men fan. And definitely check out more reactions from us and reviews, because a lot more of that to come, and there's obviously stuff we've done before this, so watch those, because they're, you know, on the internet.
The first time ever